First, we go to the Juvenile Justice Center in Nashville, Tennessee. It's after 9 p.m. 4 teens, aged 15 to 17, have been left unsupervised while on a work detail, off camera in the basement of the building. As minors, these boys are staying here instead of jail, while they await trial for crimes including armed robbery, auto theft, and murder. And as you can see, they don't plan on sticking around for their trials. They've just come up a basement elevator and are wearing what appear to be yellow security vests. While one of the young men begins making his way down the hall, he changes his mind and follows the others up the stairs. When they get to the ground floor, the teens bolt through the front entrance. No one's stopping them. Cameras catch the entire escape. For now, they've made it and run off into the night. Eventually, all 4 involved in the escape were caught and could now face additional charges. It's later discovered that the 4 teens likely had help from the inside. 2 employees are terminated and arrested for assisting the juveniles in their escape. And this wasn't the first time a juvenile tried to escape this exact same juvenile facility. We go back just 2 years earlier. And these staff members have been tracking a teen as he makes his way through the ceiling, just a few feet above their heads. Though he's just out of reach, the ceiling begins to give way. The ceiling doesn't hold, and the defendant crashes through. Security's not giving up and immediately surround him, as his daring, though poorly planned escape comes to an end. Watch again as the juvenile makes one last effort to flee. Security's taking no chances of letting him escape again. He's unhurt and immediately taken back into custody. After this incident and the most recent escape, the city of Nashville is considering taking over operations of the privately run center.
Next, we take you outside the Baldwin County Courthouse in Bay Minette, Alabama. It's an ordinary day until a sheriff's deputy conducting a routine security check around the property finds a surprise: a bag containing meth as well as some prescription drugs. When he reviews the security footage, the answer to this meth mystery becomes crystal clear. That's Rebecca Ann Willis, age 37. She's securing the drug-filled bag to a railing, while her alleged accomplice, Alexis Byron, waits off camera. Why would anyone tape a bag of drugs to a courthouse handrail? According to police, the drugs were probably placed there so a current inmate could retrieve them. The contraband was hidden near a door used by corrections officers to move inmates in and out of the courthouse. Police quickly identified Willis and charged her with attempted distribution of a controlled substance, unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia, and after she destroyed evidence when police arrived, she was also charged with tampering with physical evidence. About a week later, police arrested Byron in a stolen car in Mississippi. In addition to the drug charges, she was also charged with receiving stolen property. Byron was extradited back to Alabama, where she was later released on bond. The results of her case are still pending. Willis, however, pled guilty to unlawful possession of a controlled substance and was sentenced to 2 years in prison. As for the intended recipient of the drugs, that person has not been identified.
We're in Royal Oak, Michigan. It's around 10:40 a.m., and police just witnessed the driver of this SUV throw a cigarette out the window. Moments later, the driver makes a turn without signaling, then accelerates beyond the speed limit. After officers pulled the vehicle over, they reportedly noticed the odor of alcohol coming from inside. The driver's then removed and ordered to perform a set of field sobriety tests.
What I want you to do is I want you to focus on the tip of my finger. It's going to move side to side. Focus on it with your eyes and keep your head still, okay? Keep your head still. What I want you to do is I want you to picture an imaginary line in front of you. Place your left foot on the imaginary line. Now, you're going to take 9 heel-to-toe steps out along that imaginary line, counting your steps out loud. You can start whenever you're ready. Not going to be able to do it?
No. I'm not.
You want to try?
Let's call that strike 1.
Next, I want you to count backward from 54 to 37. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. Okay, go ahead whenever you're ready.
54, 53, 52, 55, 50, 49, 48, 47, 46, 45, 44, 43, 42, 41, 40, 39. Did you say 39 and 37?
37.
Oh, 38, 57.
Okay.
There's strike 2.
All I need you to do is wrap your lips around this tube. You're going to blow into it just like this. You don't have anything to shut your mouth, right? Can I have to take a look real quick? All right. All right.
As they wait for the breathalyzer results, the officer asks the driver a sobering question.
Do you think you should be driving right now? Do you have kids?
No, I have kids.
If you had your kids in the car, would you be driving right now?
No.
Can you read that out loud for me?
And strike 3.
0.112. So the legal limit is 0.08. So at this point, I am going to place you under arrest for operating while intoxicated. I'm going to have you turn around, put your hands behind your back, and interlace your fingers.
Sir, are you bringing me to jail?
I am.
What so far has been a pretty typical traffic stop and arrest takes an interesting turn when the driver tries to plead her case.
Is there any way, I'm really gonna, I don't drink and drive. I'm running for an office right now.
Okay.
This will f me up really bad. I'm running for an office right now.
And not just any office. 49-year-old Julie McDonald is a local attorney, and she's running for county circuit court judge.
This will f me up really bad.
You know, there's not a lot of discretion I have with something like this.
No, I understand.
I can't bend the rules.
Around 11:45 a.m., McDonald arrives at the police station and tells officers she'd consumed 4 vodka drinks the night before and agrees to another breathalyzer test. This one reads 0.08, which is exactly Michigan's limit and technically considered drunk driving, but also falls within the test's 0.004 margin of error. McDonald would later plead guilty to careless driving and littering for tossing the cigarette out the car window in exchange for the dismissal of the drunk driving charge. She was required to pay $2,000 in court fees, continue daily testing for alcohol use, and complete 40 days of community service. As for her bid for county circuit court judge, it was a success. But 8 months after she was arrested, the Michigan Supreme Court ordered a 45-day unpaid suspension for her misconduct behind the wheel.
Oh my God, take me home.
We now go to Brimfield Township, Ohio, where County Judge Rebecca Doherty isn't presiding over her courtroom, she's making demands at the local police station.
Do me a favor and have a seat so we can do our job. I'm not going to call anybody yet, okay? We have stuff we have to do.
I'm going to tell you now to call Lieutenant Lindbergh now.
Have a seat.
Call him
or I'm going to
now.
put you in the cell.
So why is this judge so aggravated? Let's go back earlier in the night.
Hello?
An officer's body camera records as he approaches an SUV that's crashed off the side of a snow-covered road.
Are you okay?
No, I'm not.
What's going on? Ma'am, you've got vomit down here in your door.
300 deal.
Have you been drinking?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have your ID handy?
I'm Becky Doherty. I'm the judge. Happy.
Your judge?
To be more specific, she is the county's common pleas court judge, 55-year-old Rebecca Doherty.
Kidding me?
Am I kidding about what?
I am absolutely out of my mind with...
You're intoxicated.
I am so intoxicated.
The officer's body cam continues to record as the judge is escorted into booking.
Oh my God. Take me home. Okay.
Have a seat.
Let me call Lindbergh.
Have a seat.
No.
Rebecca,
Call.
listen. This whole thing is being recorded. Do not do something you are going to regret
Call
tomorrow.
Larry Limbert is actually Major Larry Limbert of the county sheriff's office.
Do me a favor and have a seat so we can do our job.
Call Larry
I'm not going to
Limbert.
call anybody yet. Okay, we have stuff we have to do. Will you please have a seat? You're trying to walk out the door and you're almost falling down. Can you please
I'm
have
not
a seat?
falling down.
Have a seat.
Call Larry Limbert.
Rebecca, I will put you in one of the cells if you do
Okay.
not. I'm
Call
trying
Larry
to really
Limbert
play.
now.
Have a seat.
Call him now. Call him now.
And that's not the judge's only request.
What can I do for you?
Drink.
Okay.
Water.
We just literally told you 10 seconds ago that we're getting you a drink of water. He's out front right now getting you the
Not
glass.
10 seconds ago. I want a drink of water now. Thank you. Call Larry Limbert.
I tried him. He didn't answer.
Really?
Do you want the water? The water?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Larry Limbert.
Okay.
Larry Limbert. Thank you.
After refusing to take a breathalyzer, Judge Doherty is charged with operating a vehicle while under the influence of alcohol.
Give me my phone so I can make a phone call.
Okay. Your phone is in a puddle of vomit in your car, which is
I
on the
get
side
it.
of... Can I finish? Which is on the
Absolutely.
side of the road that you crashed into.
Yes.
The tow company is
absolutely.
out there trying to get it out. However, it is extremely snowy and slippery out. They are not able to
totally
get the
get it.
vehicle out so far. So
Totally
your
get it.
phone is off the table right now. We don't have access to it.
Judge Doherty receives a fine of $1,075 and 180 days in jail, which the presiding judge reduces to $375 and 3 days in jail. Her driver's license is suspended for a year, and she's ordered to complete a driver's intervention program. Next, we head to the Cowlitz County Courthouse in Washington State. It's 12:40 p.m., just outside the security desk. The woman seen here is Michelle Flavin. Notice she's carrying a pink box. Don't worry, it's nothing dangerous, just a birthday cake for her 9-year-old daughter. She's bringing it inside the courthouse because she's afraid if she leaves it in the car, her dog will eat it. Flavin asks the security officer, there in white, to keep an eye on the cake while she meets with her sister inside. Her cake should be fine at a security checkpoint inside a courthouse. A few minutes later, this man, Robert Fredrickson, arrives at the courthouse. Fredrickson's here because of an indecent exposure charge. He's 50 years old. Fredrickson and the woman in front of him send their valuables through the metal detector. Just out of the frame, Fredrickson sees the birthday cake left with the officer. And what does he do? He puts his hand right in the cake and takes a bite. A woman notices the shameless act and might be thinking she's being punked. There goes Fredrickson, who appears to be licking his fingers. He heads to the water fountain, probably to wash evidence off his hands. The woman calls over another security officer. The officer in white, meanwhile, has eyes on the cake and can see the damage. Not only is Fredrickson busted, he's still licking cake from his fingers. The group gathers around the table, and that's when Fredrickson does the inexplicable. He goes back for seconds. The officer in white has seen enough of this frosting-filled crime scene. Fredrickson and the cake are thrown to the ground. A few more guards arrive, and Fredrickson is arrested. On top of the initial indecent exposure charge he was facing that day, Fredrickson also picked up another charge of third-degree theft, which was the icing on the cake. As for Flavin, a local grocery store heard about the incident and provided her with
with a brand new case.
Next, we take you to Orlando, Florida, for a courtroom moment you may have missed in the high-profile trial of 25-year-old Casey Anthony. Anthony was accused of killing her 2-year-old daughter, Kaylee, in 2008. And the trial made headlines around the world. It's the 7th week of the trial, and the defense is rested. Judge Belvin Perry has dismissed the jury, but another matter has caught his attention, one he wants to deal with right away. Earlier, a 28-year-old spectator in the gallery named Matthew Bartlett made an inappropriate hand gesture towards Prosecutor Jeff Ashton, who was addressing the court. A member of the press reported the moment, and the gesture got back to the judge, who is not happy, and now he's called Bartlett before him.
You recognize the individual on that photograph, sir?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and who is it?
This is me.
And what is that symbol that you are projecting with your fingers?
Using my middle finger, and I am sorry.
And who were you extending the finger to, sir?
Mr. Ashton.
You see this sign?
Yes, sir.
And does not this sign read any gestures, facial expressions showing approval or disapproval during a court proceeding is absolutely prohibited? That sign is posted on the door outside, is it not?
It is.
Was there anything about that that you did not understand, sir?
No, sir.
Could you tell this court why you should not be held in contempt of court?
I'm truly sorry for doing this. This is something stupid, and I'm not sure why I even did it. And I just apologize. I don't understand why I did it. I do apologize.
The maximum sentence for contempt of court in the state of Florida is a year in county jail. Despite Bartlett's apology, the judge is not letting this go.
Young man, do you realize that the taxpayers of the state of Florida has expended a great deal of money in putting on this trial, and that your actions could have jeopardized all of the work that the attorneys have done in this particular case?
Yes, sir.
Anything you would like to say before this court imposes sentence?
I apologize for doing this.
At this time, I will adjudge you to be guilty of the crime of direct criminal contempt. I will sentence you to 6 days in Orange County Jail, impose a fine of $400 along with the court costs. He will be remanded to the custody of Orange County, to the Orange County Jail.
While Bartlett served his 6-day sentence, the trial of Casey Anthony continued. Ultimately, Anthony was found not guilty of murdering her daughter. She was found guilty on 4 counts of lying to investigators and served over 3 years of a 4-year sentence for those crimes. Next, we go to a virtual hearing in Tampa, Florida. The defendant is 33-year-old B.J. Dreggers. He's been charged with fraud and petty theft for trying to pass bad checks. Today, he appears remotely before Judge Michael Williams to enter a plea. The state initially offered a deal where Dreggers would plead guilty and get sentenced to 18 months probation. If he decides to go to trial and is convicted, the former Marine could be looking at 5 years behind bars.
B.J. Dreggers.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Your Honor.
Yeah, good morning. Last time we were in court, he was shooting up drugs on my Zoom.
That's right. 3 months earlier, while waiting for his preliminary hearing to begin, Dreggers engaged in some illegal drug use. Judge Williams didn't watch it live, but a prosecutor did and shared it with the court. And the judge isn't happy about it.
Yes, sir. I apologize to yourself and the court for that, sir.
I only go so far, but
Yes, sir.
it's bad enough I got to put up with people smoking cigarettes and everything else. I don't need that.
No, sir.
I don't know. What's your resolution on him?
Dreger's attorney, David Hall, steps in to do some damage control.
In my conversations with him, he's been entirely professional, respectful, remorseful about his actions.
I instructed him to appear in person on 6/4/21, and he didn't. And then he shows back up on Zoom on June 15th, and that's when he's shooting up on the Zoom.
Despite the judge's remarks, Hall requests the court stick with the original deal of probation. But for Judge Williams, it's not that simple.
18 months of probation. He wants to resolve it to the court. I'll do it today for 180 days plus 18 months. I'm not taking probation today, and he gets out. I think I'm usually pretty relaxed on certain things, but you know, you shoot up on my Zoom, that's different.
Mr. Dreggers, the court is rejecting the plea agreement with the state, proposing 180 days in custody followed by 18 months probation. Is that something you want to do? The alternative would be to set it for trial.
Dreggers doesn't love either of the choices, so he makes his own request.
Is there a way to have stricter probation or something of those guidelines?
No.
Dreggers is given a month to discuss things with his attorney on how he wants to plead.
All right, Mr. Dreggers, come on up.
Once again, he appears before Judge Williams, who, after doing some of his own reflecting, has a new outlook on the case.
Mr. Dreggers, I've been thinking about your case. You're a veteran, correct?
Yes, sir, I am.
What branch?
Marine Corps.
All right. There's a once-a-year docket that I do, and it's called the Veterans Outreach Court. So
Yes, sir.
What I'm proposing is we set you on that Veterans Outreach Court docket.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Dreggers appeared on the veterans docket, and the judge gave him a second chance. He's released and given 18 months probation, plus mandatory drug and alcohol testing.
Just work on getting clean and moving forward, and let's have a good ending to a bad situation, okay?
Hey, Judge, I appreciate everything you've done for me, sir.
You get clean, I'm happy.
Dreggers is currently employed and taking steps to remain drug-free.
Excuse me, ma'am. I did not kill the animal on purpose.
Next, we go to bond court in Miami-Dade County. Judge Mindy Glazer presiding. The defendant, Kenny Amaro, has been charged with animal cruelty with intent to do harm or kill. A day earlier, the 36-year-old Amaro was caught on a surveillance camera trying to lure his neighbor's dog, Rocky, towards him. He then allegedly lassoed a belt around Rocky's neck, elevated him, and began swinging the one-year-old puppy in a circular motion multiple times. We won't show the complete video because of its graphic nature. Then, after allegedly pinning Rocky to the ground and tying him to a street sign, Amaro went to his neighbor's home and began shouting and kicking the front door. After Amaro left, Rocky's owner retrieved the lifeless dog and brought it to the front porch, where he tried unsuccessfully to save its life. Officers arrived and Amaro was placed into custody. According to police reports, Amaro claimed the dog was being aggressive. He was simply trying to protect the community.
Kenny Amaro?
Today, he appears before Judge Glazer to hear charges and find out if he'll make bail.
Good morning, sir. You were arrested for 1 count of animal cruelty. Do you have any money to pay for your own lawyer?
Excuse me, ma'am. I did not kill the animal on purpose.
Before you talk about the facts, you want to tell us first if you can afford to pay for a lawyer?
Excuse me, ma'am. As a citizen of the United States of America, I'm a citizen and I have the right to speak freely.
Of course, but I'm happy to listen, but do you have money to pay for a lawyer? I'm trying to find out if I need to appoint a free.
The judge decides to appoint a public defender, who sits off camera, to represent Amaro.
Okay. Can I explain to you what happened, ma'am?
I advise you not to, sir. While you do have a right to speak, you also have a right to remain silent.
No, I had the right to speak. I want to speak.
As Judge Glazer reads the case report, Amaro begins to show some frustration.
I'm just saying I want to explain to the judge what happened with the dog.
I'd advise you not to do that.
Why not?
Because it's not in your best interest.
Because everything you say can be used against you.
You know why? Because I was afraid for my life.
Sir?
Excuse me?
It appears Amaro doesn't like the way this is going.
Don't?
Yes, sir. You told me. Hello?
Hello. I'm just reading what happened here.
Huh?
I'm reading what happened to you. Apparently there was some surveillance.
Yeah, you're reading what happened, but that's not what happened. You know why? Because they're lying. Ma'am, the dog was a dangerous dog.
Do not talk about the facts of your case.
He would have killed a kid.
The public defender is trying to keep Amaro from incriminating himself, but it's not working.
If he sees a kid, he would attack the kid. Excuse me, sir. I want to be my own lawyer. You're not my lawyer no more. I intend to do what I have to do. May I speak?
It's now Judge Glazer's turn to do the talking.
So, sir, these are serious charges. You could be facing prison time if you're found guilty.
Excuse me, may I speak now?
Go ahead.
I was afraid for my life, and I had to defend myself like you Americans do all the time. I pledge to listen to the flag of the United States of America. I try to save my life like you guys did the 9/11. You guys went and bombed those people over there.
So, State, what are you seeking here?
An increase.
What I'm seeking is that I try to save my life and somebody else's life. I don't deserve to be in jail.
Judge Glazer sets bond at $25,000. And if Amaro posts, he must remain on house arrest.
$25,000 bond plus house arrest.
It's not fair. I don't have that money. I'm a poor person. It's not fair.
He's a danger to the community as well as...
No, man, I didn't say I'm dangerous. I did not say that. This is not fair for me.
Amaro would later enter a plea of not guilty, and his trial is pending. If found guilty, he could be sentenced to 5 years in prison.
We're in the George Layton Criminal Courthouse in Chicago, Illinois. Judge Joseph Claps strolls through the lobby, as he's done plenty of times over his 20-year career. Only today, he drops something on the floor. Normally, this wouldn't be a big deal, only the item that Claps drops on the floor is reportedly a loaded satin silver revolver. In Illinois, weapons, even if you're properly licensed, are prohibited inside courthouses, unless you're an officer on duty. Notice how as Claps passes the security desk, he waves hello to a court security officer, and the revolver falls out of his jacket, which is folded over his arm. With people watching, he reaches down to pick it up, stumbles a bit, then casually puts the object in his pants pocket and walks away. When the judge arrives at the elevators, Claps puts the gun back under his coat and continues with his day. But 2 other deputies standing by the doors also took notice when Claps dropped his weapon. While they didn't take immediate action, they later report the incident to a lieutenant. Claps, who did have a valid firearm owner's ID card and a concealed carry license,
is charged 3 days later with carrying a concealed weapon in a prohibited area, which is a Class B misdemeanor. The judge was placed on administrative duty and faced up to 6 months in jail and a $2,500 fine if convicted. But just 3 months later, and despite eyewitness testimony from the 2 deputies, he's acquitted of the charge. The court ruled the prosecution had failed to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the object Claps dropped was actually a firearm. We're now at the Eagle County Court in Eagle, Colorado, where an officer's called into a courtroom to assist with an investigation. A crime seems to have been committed. Who committed the crime is still in question.
Hello.
These 2 gentlemen are standing here. This gentleman is standing right here. I heard something hit the ground. Put his foot on it. And I stepped back. He kept looking at me. And pulled his foot off. And there you go.
Okay. This one or this one? All right.
Would you be able to take some pictures of this before it's picked up or anything? Just so we can have it for the court case?
Sure.
The item of interest is this small packet filled with a suspicious white powder, which turns out to be cocaine.
Why don't we step outside so everyone can get back to what they're doing, okay?
So, I'm going to ask you a question, okay?
So let's step out of the courtroom. I'll Mirandize you. Let's have a conversation about what happened, okay?
Okay.
Alrighty, let's do that.
The guy next to me, I heard something drop. The guy next to me said, is that drug? So I look down and I go like this, you know? I go back, I like, and I see the little bag there. This guy said, oh, excuse me, something fell off of this gentleman's pocket. I said, did you literally see something fall out of my pocket? You know, this is a serious crime.
So why do all the independent witnesses in there tell me that it came out of your pocket?
Well, it's like I tell you, if somebody saw something, it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
If it wasn't your drugs, tell me whose drugs you think it was.
Probably the next guy standing next to me.
Okay, which guy is that? The guy in the red?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, there's camera right there. Let's look at the camera because I have nothing.
And did that come from you today? Out of your pockets?
The man in red doesn't speak English and is using an interpreter.
So this is what we're going to do. We're trying to look at the video footage right now.
So they do just that. Did you see that? Look again closely. The evidence seems to be clear.
In the courtroom, there's video. And it recorded it coming out of your hand or your hat as you had your hands behind your back. You are under arrest. Turn around, place your hands behind your back.
Juan Bibriesca has narcotics possession and a bond violation added to the drug charges he was already facing in court.
I'm getting arrested again?
You are. You can't have cocaine. It's illegal.
We're in district court in Ann Arbor, Michigan. 36-year-old Anthony Lane is before Judge Cedric Simpson for a virtual conference. 6 months earlier, Lane was charged with 1 count of possessing methamphetamine or ecstasy and 1 count of possessing a narcotic, cocaine or heroin. Today, Lane is requesting to waive his right to a probable cause hearing and have his case sent straight to circuit court.
Mr. Lane, please state your name for the court.
Anthony Lane.
Good morning, sir.
How you doing?
A waiver for continued plea negotiations and resolution in circuit.
You understand you'll not have that hearing and you'll proceed to circuit court for further resolution?
Yes, sir.
Everything seems to be going as planned until the judge asked the prosecutor if he also agrees to waive the probable cause hearing.
People also waive their right?
Your Honor, I'll agree to waive, but I do want to make a statement on the record. It appeared that earlier in this time block that Mr. Lane was rolling a blunt and might have been smoking.
Earlier that day, while Lane waited in the virtual courtroom, he decided to have a smoke. Another defendant waiting for the judge did a double take when he noticed what Lane was up to. While recreational marijuana use is legal in Michigan, Lane is out on bond and strictly prohibited from taking any drugs or controlled substances. Lane looked cautiously out the vehicle's window, but paid no attention to the phone in front of him that was broadcasting what he was doing, not only on the internet, but directly to the court. He continued smoking during the session and flaunted the blunt up close while Judge Simpson was handling other cases. Court staff took notice and informed the prosecutor.
Your Honor, given that information, I guess we need to adjourn the PCC so Mr. Lane and I can speak further before we wait.
Yeah. I think that might be wise. Mr. Lane, you understand what's happening now?
Yeah.
As part of his bond conditions, Lane is also supposed to be taking regular drug tests.
When's the last time you tested?
2 weeks ago.
You were supposed to be testing 2 times per week.
I tested back to back.
Okay, but have you tested this week?
No, sir.
I'm also going to order that you're to report to Community Corrections today for a test.
Your Honor, I have no ride today.
Well, you better find somebody to get you a ride down here. I'm ordering a test. You're the one that brought this on yourself by what you did. So I'm ordering a test today.
Okay,
if you don't test today, I'm going to be issuing a warrant to have you picked up.
But as the judge moves on, Lane lingers on the call and lets out a laugh.
Well, you keep laughing, Mr. Lane. I don't think you want to do that. Not with me. You better take yourself off before you think things are too funny. Thank you.
I wasn't laughing at you, sir. I wasn't laughing at you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Courthouse case, People versus Chandler Langston.
Lane never made it to Community Corrections that day, nor did he appear at his next conference. Judge Simpson issued a warrant for his arrest and revoked bond. His case remains open. Next, we head to Bernalillo County Metropolitan Court in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's Valentine's Day, and instead of playing Cupid, this woman is about to do something stupid. Stacy Ochoa has spent hours observing the day's proceedings, posing as a criminal justice student. Sitting in the gallery, Ochoa takes a few minutes to chat with lawyers, then approaches the bench, presumably to continue the discussion. Moments later, she takes a seat in one of the chairs reserved for inmates waiting to see the judge. As the lawyers turn their attention to the clerk, Ochoa slumps back. Now pay close attention to her left hand. Ochoa waits another minute, then quietly leaves the courtroom. About 20 minutes later, a group of inmates enter the courtroom. One of them, Frank Chappelle, taps an inmate sitting in front of him on the shoulder. Waiting till everyone's distracted with the business at hand, the inmate reaches under the seat where Ochoa previously sat. Authorities say Ochoa was not actually an inquisitive criminal justice student. It was all just an elaborate ruse used to pass an illegal Valentine's Day pick-me-up to a friend behind bars. She was charged with trafficking meth and distributing marijuana, received 3 years probation. But there is a happy ending. Ochoa and Chappelle were married in 2019. It's 11:07 a.m. in the Lorain Municipal Court in Lorain, Ohio. The court's empty after a busy morning, and a security officer's making his usual rounds. He comes across something unusual, a small bag filled with some kind of powder. He's not entirely sure what it is, so he has it tested. It turns out to be cocaine. So the court rewinds the tape to 9:34 a.m., just before the bag appears on the floor. And this man steps up to the gate. Watch closely as he moves his hat. One more time. A warrant's immediately issued for Lamar Reed's arrest. Reed was in court on 2 traffic violations, driving under a suspended license and speeding. He now faces a 5th-degree felony charge and a max of a year in prison.